Welcome to the Pandemonium Witches podcast, where the AD is in the HD, the true crime is as scary as the ghost stories, and the hosts are as cunning as foxes. I'm Kat.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Em.
And I'm Meg.
Now on to the show.
Last night and collapsed into bed. I am so sorry.
You're fine.
Hey, at least this is a vocal and not a visual podcast.
Right. I think that every single time.
My God.
Hi, bud.
My friend was like, why don't you just record the video? And I was like, I think not.
Like, sometimes it would be hilarious, other times, not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard the history of the Twinings Company?
Yes.
That they're a cult?
Huh?
That they're a cult?
Because it was the East Indies Trading Company, yes.
Yeah.
Did
Yes,
you guys
I know.
Was it, here's a fun episode for later. What is the Sleepy Time?
Yeah.
Tea?
The Sleepy Time Tea from
Yes.
what, that one company.
It
Pastor
has the bear on it.
Youth Pastor Ryan covered it.
I
Yeah.
sent that to you.
Mm-hmm. Emily, what do you think of my background?
It's so bright.
I
You
know.
look like you have a halo.
I do,
What do you
but
think of? What do you think of my background?
no. I moved the bookshelf from
I saw.
yeah, and I moved everything, and I put our painting up.
No.
Not magical starfish.
Yes.
No magical starfish cat. No.
And that's one of the reasons why we don't do video recording.
Is because
Yes.
Crush, Emily's cat, likes to stick his right in front of the video camera.
I love how we've just confirmed he goes by his middle name.
Crush?
Right.
Yeah, that's his middle name.
Well, that's all you've called him since I've known you is Crush.
Yep, unless he's in a lot of trouble, then it's his first name.
Yes.
His full name is Sekhmet Crush.
Mm-hmm.
So
It is. It's a great name.
let me awaken the girlfriend.
I think
the
girlfriend
librarian.
I think the girlfriend is awake, the librarian. So my husband is gone. Right, I know. But do you want to know? I have to hit the button. Do you know what I turned this year? It's not 25.
It's 22 with some years experience, isn't it?
Ha 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 ha.
It's 30, I swear.
It's 40. I turned 40 this year.
No, you don't.
Lies.
I do.
That doesn't sound right. Shut up!
Maxed out right there.
Here,
Not at all.
Tyrador. Come here. There's room behind me.
Oh, poor Tyr. She also has a beautiful rescued. Oh, no, that's not your rescue. That's your other rescue. That's the librarian.
Hi, Tyr.
I
Hello.
love what you said. That's the other rescue.
Oh, hello, friend.
They're like, I joined too.
So, even though it's Emily's turn today, she's going to pick it up. Not next time, because next time we have a special guest, don't we? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I am a dumbass, is what I am, and I have lost track of time because time is a concept created by the rich.
You got
know that.
ADHD blindness is what you had. It's fine.
On a side note, it's healed.
It is. It looks good.
Yay!
So,
There we go.
I'm gonna go today. We're even though month of May is about nurses, and we honor the people that try to save us and try to do good by us. There's some nurses out there that don't want us to survive. However, There was a doctor that was worse than most of the doctors out there.
I believe it.
He was a pharmacist. But there was a doctor that was more popular than most doctors. And I don't think either of you are prepared for today, because today is going to be very gruesome.
Okay.
I have no idea what Emily's doing, but doesn't matter. Today we're going to be talking about H.H. Holmes. What?
I mean, right now it looks like she's getting a cat to the intestines.
Oh,
that was the boob. Never mind.
Just used her as a launching pad. Good job, Crush.
I muted my side because we were having a money talk, and I didn't feel like the podcast needed to know about that.
Well,
and the cat decided to use my boob and my liver as a launch pad.
Good job. She's not even listening. Emily. Oh, you can hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. You just can't hear me.
Oh, because your headphones are all the way down by your chin, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, because my volume was all the way up so Sam can hear.
Oh. Hello, Samantha.
Unless you thought I spontaneously sprouted a third arm. My wife is behind me.
I see that.
So I have my headphones down here so I can still use my mic, but she can hear.
That's good.
It was kind of similar of the I can see you, you can see me.
And we just sitting out here looking like a bunch of idiots.
Right? But yes, H.H. Holmes.
H.H. Holmes. If my computer would allow me.
He was the good-looking one with Chicago Fair, right?
He was the good-looking one from Chicago Fair. He was the one who's, when they exhumed his body, his mustache was still intact.
That's so weird and so random.
Right. So, I don't want to know, but I want to talk to the person who did the preservation access. Just a thought.
Yeah, but for them to note that his mustache was still intact was definitely a random thing to note.
Oh yeah, super rando.
So. He must have been very proud of that mustache.
I mean,
listen,
that was the time, you know. I mean, it was either all or nothing. This man had mustache and mutton chops. He had the whole 9 yards.
It sounds like it.
I like how Sam's face is just peeking up, like the neighbor from Tool Time.
Home Improvement, yeah.
Okay, we have deviated way far off topic, and I'm including a good chunk of this, but let's go back to the horses on the schedule, which is H.H. Holmes.
The horses on the schedule.
Oh, well, right, that was a thing.
Yeah, H.H. Holmes. Do you remember him?
I remember, if I remember correctly. I hope I remember correctly. He had a murder house.
He did. It was known as the murder house.
Cat. Why are you? I will put you in a murder house.
Please don't put Sam in a murder house.
It was Chris. He touched my booty.
That half of that booty's mine. We already discussed this.
He touched the half that was yours.
The left cheek, that is predominantly mine.
And that is why he goes in the murder house.
Okay, fine. Little murder. What'd he say?
Just a little murder. Not a lot of murder, just a little.
What'd he say?
He said, it's fine. You wouldn't be the first wife to force me into wanting to be murdered.
Damn!
My first wife had me paying for a house, and then she turned it into a murder.
I can see why you don't want him on the show now.
His name was Herman Webster Mudgett. Born May 16th, 1961. He was a Taurus. That's kind of given a bad name.
Of course he was a Taurus.
You know what? Shut up. I'm a Taurus. Emily's a Taurus.
Oh, Zodiac. I thought you meant he was like a Taurus, like...
Not a tourist, you nut.
Okay,
No, he didn't. He didn't have the sunscreen streak. He had the horns.
My bad. It was a long night, okay?
I'm sorry. What was that, Emily? Not like
Wait a
a
minute.
girl moose, a boy moose. Make all the boy moose go. Wah.
No, it's a very flamboyant moose, okay?
Mm. We're cutting that out. So
oh, right. Oh, I thought I was muted.
Nope. So Herman Webster Mudgett, H.H. Holmes, was born May 16th, 1861 in Gilmanton, New Hampshire. And he died, ironically, May 7th, 1896. So he still died in the Taurus spectrum. He was an American swindler and a confidence trickster who was widely considered as the first American serial killer. Holmes was born into a wealthy family. He was wicked smart.
Of course he was.
It's
always the smart ones.
Wicked smart. Always interested in medicine, hence the serial killer thing. He allegedly trapped animals and performed surgery on them.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So then some accounts of his life even suggest that he killed a childhood playmate, allegedly. But we all know he done did it.
So, like, allegedly he killed. So they're alleging that he was the one that murdered the child?
Because the child went missing.
Okay.
Yes.
I wanted to clear that up for a second.
There's no,
my brain is, like, chaotic right now.
Well, I did look into it. There's no newspaper clippings, no anything like that to instigate anything aside from the fact that his childhood playmate was missing.
Okay.
So he was never found or anything like that. He just poofed.
Just disappeared one day.
Yep. Anyways.
Okay.
1877, he graduated from high school at the ripe old age of 16. And
at least he graduated high school.
Yeah, not like most of our serial killers who barely passed.
Yeah.
July 4th, 1878, he married Clara Loverly. Now, this is where we're going to start our tally marks. The daughter of a well-to-do family who would help pay for his education, the couple would have a son in 1880. Now, in 1879, at the age of 18, he enrolled in the University of Vermont in Burlington to study medicine, but left after 1 year. So, this is where the doctor name comes in. 2 years later, in 1882, he was accepted to the University of Michigan Medical School.
Okay.
While enrolled in school, he stole cadavers from the lab, burned or disfigured them, and then planted the bodies, making it look as if they'd been killed in an accident.
What the fuck?
The horrified looks just stunned.
Like, dismembering them wasn't enough. He also had to burn and, fuck them up even more.
Right.
Well, yeah, you got to get rid of all the evidence.
Well, and here's the funny thing is that he was doing this for insurance fraud.
Of course he was. It's always ulterior motives. It is touching me!
Mom, it's touching me! So, the scandal was that Holmes would take out insurance policies on the dead bodies, the corpses, before planting the bodies and collecting the money once the bodies were discovered. 2 years later, in 1984, he was almost prevented from graduating when a widowed hairdresser accused him of making a false promise of marriage to her. However, he was still able to pass and graduate medical school, regardless of the fact that he was still married to his first wife.
How the You know what? He sounds like every doctor I worked with at an adult doctor.
Sounds right. At the same time, housemates described Holmes as treating Clara violently. And before his graduation in 1984, she and their son moved back to New Hampshire, and she was never seen from him again. Mind you, she's still married to him. Keep that in mind. He then moved to Moore's Forks in New York. I had to look that up. Moore's Forks. Even though it's spelled Moors. I pronounced it Moors. No, it's Moors. Where a rumor spread that Holmes had been seen with a little boy who mysteriously disappeared. He claimed that the boy went back to his home in Massachusetts. No investigation had taken place, and he quickly left town.
Of course, because they're starting to notice him, and that's not what he wants.
Mm-hmm. Shortly thereafter, Holmes was living in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, home of brotherly love, where he got a job as a keeper at the Norristown State Hospital, but he quit after a few days. Mind you, he has his MD. Why is he not working as a doctor?
MDs are hard and expensive to get, too.
Mm-hmm. But this was back in the day where you didn't have to do a fuck ton of residency. You got your degree and then you immediately became a doctor.
Yeah, you sneezed right and you're now a doctor. Woohoo!
Yeah. In 1985, he moved to Chicago where he began working under the alias Dr. H. Holmes, Henry H. Holmes. There he went to work at Holton's drugstore at the southwest corner of South Wallace Avenue and West 63rd Street in Englewood. Dr. Edward Holton was a fellow Michigan alumna. Only a few years older than Holmes, Holmes proved himself to be a hardworking employee and eventually bought the store from him. When the owner of the drugstore passed away, the librarian said if she sneezes right, she's now a phlebotomist. When the owner of the drugstore passed away, he left his wife to take over the responsibilities of the store. However, Holmes convinced the widow to let him buy the store. The widow soon went missing and was never seen from again.
Of course.
Of course.
Because that's how that works.
Yes. He tends to make people go poof. Which I want to know. How these people were able to go missing and nobody reported them. And no investigation was done or anything.
Because this was the early 1900s and technology ain't what it is today.
True. While still working there, a boy died after taking medicine that was purchased at the store.
Interesting.
Holmes denied... Ooh, what is that?
Spooky effects!
Spooky. A boy died after taking medicine that was purchased at the store. Holmes denied any involvement in the child's death and immediately left the city. So he purchased a store and then left the city? Like, what happened to the store?
Just left it running as is?
Yes. By a bunch of zombies.
Well, I mean, because I would assume that there would already be a chemist on
Probably.
already working there and everything. So he just, while ownership changed hands, the daily running of the aspect did not.
Well, yeah. Well, the cops did look into the widow's missing, the fact that she was missing. I mean, that's fair. You know.
It makes sense.
So Holmes was approached about the widow before he left the city. He claimed that she had moved to California, but the police could never verify that. I bet you anything like he buried her under the floorboards or something. Like, didn't Edgar Allan Poe or something?
Well, I mean, he could have disfigured her and sold her body to a medical school.
He could have. He did it with the other...
Because that was still a thing. They still needed bodies for medical school.
That's where a lot of the bodies back in the olden days came from.
True.
Even still in the 1900s, like...
Well, I mean, this
early 1900s.
Right, this is pre-1900s, so In 1886, he still hasn't divorced from Clara, so he still has his first wife, but he then married Myrta Belknap.
Words are hard today.
Words are hard. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the couple would eventually have a daughter. He filed for divorce from Clara a few weeks after marrying Myrta, alleging infidelity on her part, but she claims it could not be proven. The suit went nowhere. There's surviving paperwork. The paperwork indicated she probably never was or even informed of the suit, and the divorce was actually never finalized. His wife Myrta then moved to Illinois, where they lived in Wilmette. However, Holmes spent most of his time in Chicago, as you do.
Because running away is always solves the options.
Yes. After Holmes had become an owner of a drugstore, he purchased an empty lot across the street.
Wait, so this is his second drugstore he's now owned?
Yes.
Making sure I'm getting the timeline right.
No, this is the first one. Yeah.
The one that the widow went?
No. This is a different one. Yeah, it's a different one.
So that been
it's the second one.
Second drugstore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But he's still back in Chicago. He's just in a different area in Chicago.
Because Chicago's a big city.
Chicago is a very big city.
Big city, bright lights.
Big city. Green River in Chicago. Do you guys know that? They make it green?
I feel so sorry for those dang fish around St. Patty's Day. Because, like, they're chilling in their murky brown water because it's Chicago, and then all of a sudden, why is it green?
Like, what?
Thankfully, they use a safe dye now.
Yeah.
They didn't used to.
No,
I think they used to use, like, was it fabric dye or something like that?
Yep. So, he bought the empty lot across the street from the pharmacy, right? So it's pretty fair distance, but not too far away. Chicago streets are not as big as New York streets, but they're not as small as San Francisco streets. Pretty good way of putting it.
So for people who have never been to either city, or any of the three, can you clarify a little more?
So it's about a eighth of a mile is how big the city block is an eighth of a mile.
Okay.
Think roughly. Rough guesstimate. So he designed and built a 3-story hotel, which was nicknamed the Castle, due to its large structure and foreboding appearance. During its 1889 construction, Holmes hired and fired construction crews, several, so that no one would have a clear idea of what he was doing. Not only that, it wouldn't be known until after the atrocities took place what he was doing, but it was known as a murder castle. After construction was complete in 1891, he placed ads in the newspapers offering jobs for young women and advertised the castle as a place for lodging.
Of course.
He also placed ads presenting himself as a wealthy man looking for a wife.
Because that's not sketchy at all.
While still being married to Clara and Myrta.
I forget. Mail order brides were still a thing then.
Yes.
I have to remember that.
They still are now. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It was more common then, though.
Well, arranged marriage was common then.
I mean, in some cultures it's still common now, but
yeah.
Back on topic.
So when Holmes declined to pay the contractors, they sued in 1888 before they opened. He never paid for any of his construction materials.
Oh, come on, dude.
The whole house.
That shit's expensive.
It was smaller. It was like a mini version of the Winchester Mystery House, which we will be covering this season. But just saying, that's a lot That's a lot of wood, and he still couldn't get laid.
If all these ghosts, and I still can't find a boo.
I mean, I don't think him getting laid was the issue here.
No.
Because this man's been married 3 times now.
Yeah, if you think about it, he's been really good at laying pipe.
Oh.
He got to be doing something because he's getting all these women to want to marry him.
I mean, he had a good
murder joke, but okay.
He had all of his teeth. Here's the thing: in the 18 and 1900s, if a man had all of his teeth, he was a good man.
Yeah.
He had all of his teeth. He had all of his hair. He had good skin.
Okay, so he just had proper hygiene.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, the bare fucking minimum.
Bare minimum.
He just also happened to be, psychopath on top of it.
Right. So this death-encasing hellhole was equipped with secret passages, trap doors, soundproof rooms, doors that could be locked from the outside, gas jets to asphyxiate victims, a kiln to cremate bodies, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Na, 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 na,
I was about to say, the first few just sound like it. Like, the first couple of things they just kind of sound like a good time until you get to, the gas pipe and
the kiln,
the gas, the kiln, and you start adding onto it. You're just like, never mind.
So, at the reputed peak of his career during the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893, he allegedly seduced and murdered a number of women, typically by becoming engaged to them and then killing them after securing control of their life savings.
Because of course.
That's what you do.
I mean, he has to fund himself somehow.
Right. Mudgett also required his employees to carry life insurance policies, naming him as the beneficiary so that he could collect money after he killed them. He then, as you stated, sold the bodies to medical schools.
And of course he did.
But we're going to go back. We're going to talk about the castle a little bit. So, the first floor of the castle had several stores, including a jewelry store, pharmacy, blacksmith shop, barber, and a restaurant. The second floor had 35 small, windowless rooms, stairs and doors that led to nowhere, false partitions, trap doors, secret passageways, and a staircase that opened out over a steep drop to the alleyway behind the castle.
I mean, because getting rid of the alleyway, with it leading to the alleyway, just, put a card out there to catch the body.
Yeah, he had women falling for him left and right.
Easy body disposal.
Emily.
That's my name.
The 2 upper levels contained Holmes's office, over 100 rooms that were used as living quarters. This is where his staff lived, or in these living quarters. So the upper levels were not the ones that had the false partitions. It was just the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the rooms were soundproof and contained gas lines so Holmes could asphyxiate his guests whenever he felt like it. Throughout the building, there were trapdoors, peepholes, and stairways that led to nowhere, chutes that led straight into the basement. The chutes were where he would put the bodies into. And we saw that in Sweeney Todd.
Kind of like Chutes and Ladders.
It's a really bad game of Chutes and Ladders, my dude.
I mean, they have to, climbing up the stairs, so it's kind of like ladders, and then going down the chutes.
Oh.
Hey, look, he was just helping them lose a little bit of weight.
I did it again.
You did. Emily.
As soon as I did, I went, ha!
So the basement, of course, was kind of designed like Dr. Jekyll's lab. It had a dissecting table, a stretching rack, and a crematorium.
I mean,
good for him.
I wouldn't mind going on a stretching rack. I mean, maybe my back would get straight then.
Right?
I just want your husband to crack my back.
See, okay, maybe he was actually doing this for the greater good. Scoliosis was a really bad problem. He's just helping them straighten out their spine.
Right.
Maybe.
Facts.
Maybe that could have been a few of them, but we'll never know. We'll never know because he's dead. Because this was over 100 years ago.
Hey, wait, no, we have someone who can cast Speak with Dead.
I hate you.
I hate me too.
Okay. So sometimes he would send the bodies down the chute, dissect them, and strip them of flesh and sell them as a human skeleton model to medical schools. In other cases, he would choose to cremate or place the bodies into pits of acid.
Woo!
There were also trapdoors and dumbwaiters that enabled him to move the bodies down to the basement. And some rooms were soundproof. We already talked about that. And the peepholes enabled Holmes to monitor their interiors. By this time, Holmes was not being faithful to even his second wife, Myrta.
I mean, she obviously, she couldn't expect much because, I mean, he hasn't been faithful to anybody else so far.
Right. So he began to have an affair with a woman by the name of Julia Smythe Connor. But she was already married.
Of course she was.
She had a husband named Alex Connor, who had moved into Holmes's castle and began working as a bookkeeper at his pharmacy's jewelry counter.
Good Lord.
You guys know what's going to happen now.
Keep your enemies close and your friends closer or something like that.
Epic the Musical, that's a good song.
Epic the Musical?
Yeah. Oh, I'll later. That's
okay.
A later thing.
Okay.
That's a later topic.
Back to the story.
Yeah.
So after the husband, Alex, found out about Julia's affair with Holmes, he quit his job and moved away, leaving Julia and their newborn daughter, Pearl, behind.
That's a dick move.
Right, but Julia and Pearl remained at the hotel and she continued a relationship with him.
Gross.
By 91, Julia and Pearl had disappeared.
By what year?
1891.
Okay. I heard 91 and my mind went to 1991 and I was just like...
No.
That's a time jump.
No. Negatory. Yeah. They were most likely his first known murders. Holmes would later claim that Julia died during an abortion, though what truly happened between the two was never confirmed.
I mean, she could have died from an abortion because, it is possible.
Yeah.
Especially back in the day, they used chainsaws for abortions.
Chainsaws?
Well, I know the chainsaws were, used to cut the bone, your pubic bone, but I didn't know about the abortion bit.
Yeah,
I know that they used crochet hooks.
Huh.
So chainsaws were originally invented, if I remember correctly, to help aid in pregnancy, but they were also used to help aid in abortion.
I didn't know about the abortion bit, so that's a little...
Well, think about it. I don't want you here.
They were also not as big as they are today. They were definitely much smaller,
And
they
they
were
were
hand cranked.
manually, they were hand cranked.
Yeah.
I still find my disemboweling joke funny.
Well, I don't think they were disemboweled, but in 1892, I'm not going to do 92. Holmes added a third floor to his building, telling investors that he would intend to use it as a hotel during the World's Fair. However,
Good for him.
Good for him. However, the hotel portion was never completed. Furniture suppliers found out that Holmes was hiding their materials,
Shame on him.
which he never paid for, in the hidden rooms and passageways throughout the building. Their search made the news, and investors planned for the hotel pulled out. In May of that year, another girl named Emmeline Cregandy began working in the building. She disappeared by September.
Of course she did.
Then another neighborhood girl by the name of Edna Van Tassel, Sleepy Hollow, anyone? Also vanished around the same time and was thought to have been another potential victim. By early 1893, an actress by the name of Minnie Williams moved to Chicago. Holmes offered her a job at the hotel as his personal secretary. Minnie owned some property in Fort Worth, Texas. Ooh, Texas. That Holmes convinced her to sign over to him. Holmes later transferred the deed to Peitzel, which is a friend of his, in May of 1893. Holmes and Williams presented themselves as man and wife and rented an apartment in Chicago's Lincoln Park. Minnie's sister Nanny came to visit, and in July, who the fuck names their kid Nanny? And in July, she wrote to her aunt and planned to accompany brother Harry to Europe. Neither Minnie nor Nanny were ever seen alive after July 5th of 1893.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
Yep. The World's Fair in Chicago of 1893 was to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Columbus's discovery of America.
Blech.
Good for nothing colonizer. He brought syphilis, smallpox,
And death.
and death.
Lots of death.
This event was scheduled from May to October and attracted millions of people from all over the world. When Holmes heard that the World's Fair was coming to Chicago, he looked at it as an opportunity of, oh, goody, more bodies.
More bodies.
He knew many visitors would be searching for lodging near the fair and believed many of them would be women, those of which he could easily seduce into staying at the hotel. After being lured into the hotel, many of these out-of-town visitors would never be seen or heard from again.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. August 13th of 1893, the third floor of Holmes's building caught fire. Lucky, only a few people were in the building.
Unluckily, it didn't burn down completely.
Right. All of which were employees and long-term residents who were able to get out. Holmes had taken out insurance policies on the building with at least 4 companies, all of which promptly sued rather than paid.
Because why do you need insurance policies from 4 different companies?
Right. Holmes was
That
arrested.
screams sketchy.
Serious. Holmes was arrested for insurance fraud after a fire, but alas, he was soon released. He made this scheme with Ben Peitzel, the friend, who was an associate of his, to defraud an insurance company for insurance company. For a $10,000 life insurance policy that Holmes took out on Peitzel. He took this out and then faked his death. He and Peitzel then traveled to Colorado, Missouri, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Texas, where they all committed other acts of fraud along the way.
Of course they did.
And then Holmes got married again. For the 4th time.
3 now?
Fourth.
4th time.
4th. With insurance companies pressing to prosecute Holmes for arson, Holmes left Chicago in July of 1894. He reappeared in Fort Worth looking to build on the property that Minnie Williams had transferred. That same month, however, he was arrested and briefly incarcerated for the first time on a charge of selling mortgaged goods in St. Louis. Returning to Missouri, Holmes was arrested for fraud and briefly jailed. But while in jail, he made a new friend.
Of course he did.
Marion Hedgepath. He ironically was a career criminal who agreed to help Holmes in his insurance fraud scandal with Peitzel. Meanwhile, Peitzel opened a fake patent office in Philly and swindled investors.
Of course.
Yeah. After he left from jail, Holmes traveled to Philly and murdered Peitzel. In killing his partner, Holmes knocked him unconscious with chloroform and then set his body on fire. Holmes then proceeded to collect the insurance payout on the basis of a genuine Peitzel body. He then convinced Peitzel's widow, who knew about her husband's naughty movements, that her husband was still alive and gave her $500 of the money he collected from the insurance policy.
I mean, because she had no reason to doubt that he wasn't at that point.
Right. This is where it gets a little...
Oh, no.
Yeah. Peitzel had kids.
Of course he did.
He began to manipulate Peitzel's wife into allowing 3 of her 5 children to be in his custody. The eldest daughter and the baby remained with Mrs. Peitzel.
Well, shit.
Meanwhile, he took the remaining 3 children and traveled throughout the northern United States and into Canada.
Let's go on a road trip.
Right. So, simultaneously, he escorted Miss Peitzel along the parallel route, all while using various aliases and lying to Mrs. Peitzel concerning her husband's death, claiming that her husband was in London. Worried that some of the children might alert the authorities, he decided to kill them all. So not the 2 that were with Mrs. Peitzel, just the 3 he had in his custody.
Because of course.
So Holmes would later confess to murdering 2 of the children by forcing them into a large trunk, drilling a hole into the trunk, and attaching a gas line to asphyxiate the 2 girls.
Oh my god.
I hate that so much.
Because asphyxiation isn't a quick death.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's
Those
long
girls...
and agonizing.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Those poor things.
Mm-hmm. It gets worse.
Of course it does.
So, they didn't have clothes. He put them in their nude. So, he took them out and then buried their nude bodies in the cellar of his rental house in Toronto. So, it took one detective, Frank Geyer. I'm going to say Geyer. Geyer. Oh. Husband texted. Okay. I'm excited. He turned off his location, so I couldn't check in on him. He's in
the middle of nowhere right now.
He's doing military stuff. So Frank Geyer is a Philadelphia detective. He was tracking Holmes because of all the fraud cases. He went to the home, the rental house in Toronto, and he found the decomposed bodies of the 2 girls. So
that's something he's never going to get. He would never get out of his head.
No. He then tracked Holmes to Indianapolis, where he had rented a cottage. Holmes was reported to having visited a local pharmacy to purchase drugs, which he used to kill the 3rd Peitzel child. And then he went to a repair shop to sharpen the knives that he used to chop up the body before he burned it. The boy's teeth and the bits of bone were discovered in the Holmes chimney.
Poor dears.
So what people don't realize, when you cremate a body, the reason that it's encased and they have a chimney in the back, there's grates that are in the chimney that they take out and clean. They're supposed to.
Doesn't mean they always do.
No.
They're supposed to.
No, they're supposed to. Luckily for you, one of my cousins, I think is a cousin. Well, it's my mom's family friend, so cousin by friendship, I guess.
Cousin by some sort of association.
Yeah. They're morticians. So they told me about the crematoriums. And so they're encased because bits of bone will get lodged because they crackle and they pop. So bits of bone will dislodge and get locked in the end. Anyways, that's your... If there are any
fact for the day.
If there are any morticians listening and you want to tell me anything different, please do tell me, because I would love to have an aha moment.
We like learning new things.
We do. So, on January 17th of 1894, Holmes married for a fourth time to a woman named Georgiana Yoke in Denver, Colorado. While he was still illegally married to Clara Mirta, and what's her name? Julia.
I was about to say, he's only legally married to one. He's
Yeah.
illegally married to 3 now. 4?
4. He's illegally married to
illegal.
3. He's illegally married to 3. He's married totally to 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's still legally married to Clara, but he has an illegal marriage to Mirta, Julia, and Georgiana.
Mm-hmm.
In 1894, same year, Marion Hedgepath, who was super salty that he didn't receive any money from the initial scam that they did regarding Peitzel and the whole stabby thing.
They had a plan, and H.H. Holmes did not follow that plan.
Oh, no, he didn't. So you want to know what he did?
He pocketed out the money for himself.
No, he went to the cops.
Oh, I was talking about H.H. Holmes.
Mm.
H.H. Holmes pocketed all the money.
Oh, no. I just went back to the beginning. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
My wrist accidentally touched the board. Okay, so he went to the police and told them about the scam that Holmes had planned with Peitzel and all the insurance scams that they had done. So the police finally tracked down Holmes, catching up to him in Boston, where they arrested him and held him for an outstanding warrant for the Texas horse swindle.
Good for them.
Do you guys know what the Texas horse swindle was?
When he kept selling a dead horse over and over again, right?
Yep.
Okay, but like, that's kind of smart.
He bought the horse alive and then just never told anybody that it died.
Pretty much.
Like, that's kind of smart.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty ingenious.
It is pretty ingenious. Crush, what are you doing?
Trying to figure out how best to get back on the liver.
Oh, the biscuit
are we
factory
making
is open.
biscuits? We are making the biscuits.
We're making jalapeno biscuits.
The spicy biscuits.
Listen here, you
Because
little
I have
shit.
I'm listening. Because I haven't cut his nails yet.
Oh, those are definitely some spicy biscuits.
Yeah.
So insurance investigators were alerted to the fraud by Hedgepath, Marion, and Holmes was arrested by the Pinkertons in Boston, Massachusetts, November 17th of 1894. He was tried in Philadelphia for the murder of Peitzel and sentenced to death by hanging. Are you ready to get to the juicy bits?
You mean we're not already there?
No, there's more.
We already covered the juicy bit.
There's more.
There's more. There's always more.
There's always more. During his time in custody, Holmes claimed to be nothing but an insurance fraud, admitting to using cadavers to defraud life insurance companies several times in college. But over time,
But how did you get those cadaver bodies, Mr. Holmes?
Right. So, but over time, his stories began to change once he admitted to killing 28 other individuals. Other estimates range from 20 to as many 200 victims, But while he was incarcerated, Holmes was paid $7,500.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
It's not quite there.
Not quite there.
No,
Nope.
it is.
Yep. Worth about $216 today by the Hearst newspapers in exchange for his confession, which we found out were to be lies.
Of course.
Holmes
He
gave...
just wanted the money.
Yeah.
That was his whole end goal from this whole get-go.
That was his whole...
He just wanted to make that bag.
He just wanted...
That was it.
He just wanted to make that bag. Make it rain. Make it rain. So, Holmes gave various contradictory accounts of his life, initially claiming innocence, and then later that Satan possessed him.
Good for Satan.
His many lies made it...
That's what they always say.
Right. But, here's the thing, is that I don't think Satan would just take over his body. I mean, granted, he had immaculate teeth, immaculate skin, and immaculate hair, but that's just good hygiene. So I don't think...
it happened in Supernatural. Satan took over the body, so...
Satan has a thing with pretty boys, and I don't think Holmes was too much of a pretty boy. He was a pretty boy, but not by Satan's standards.
He was a pretty boy, so...
Right.
I just think Satan probably had better things to do at that point.
So, following his conviction, Holmes confessed to 27 murders in Chicago, Indianapolis, and Toronto. 6 attempted murders, and all the researchers have suggested that it is more than 200. The police investigation spread through Chicago, Indianapolis, and Toronto. While conducting their investigation in Toronto, police discovered the bodies of the Peitzel children, which we already talked about. Linking Holmes to the murders, police arrested him again and convicted them of their murders as well. Only 9 out of the 200 murders could be confirmed to have been committed by Holmes.
Of course. Either way, dead man's gonna hang.
Right. At the time of his arrest, Holmes appeared as if he was prepared to flee the country, and police became suspicious of him. Chicago police investigated the Holmes' castle, where they discovered his strange and efficient methods for committing torturous murders. Many of the bodies that were located in the castle were so badly dismembered and decomposed that it was hard for them to determine exactly how many bodies there were.
Of course.
He was convicted in 1895, and he appealed his case, but he lost. Would you like to hear about his last words?
Yes.
I was born with the devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer. No more than the poet can help the inspiration to sing.
I call bullshit.
Until the moment of his death, Holmes remained calm and amiable, showing very few signs of fear, anxiety, or depression. During the hanging, Holmes's neck did not snap.
Of course it didn't.
He instead
make him suffer.
Right. He was strangled to death, twitching for 15 minutes before being pronounced dead 20 minutes after the trap had been sprung.
Good. He deserved a slow, agonizing death.
Right. Well done. Well done. Holmes did ask for his coffin to be contained in cement and buried 10 feet deep because he was concerned about grave robbers stealing his body and using it for desecration.
Shocker.
And dissection. Yeah, I know. The castle was remodeled as an attraction named the Holmes Horror Castle. However, it was burned slowly before opening.
Oh no.
Apparently some neighbors went into there with Molotov cocktails and burned it to the ground.
Shocker. I don't blame them.
So in 2017, amid allegations that Holmes had in fact escaped execution, his body was exhumed for testing. Due to his coffin being contained in cement, his body was found to have not decomposed normally. His clothes were perfectly preserved, and his mustache was found to be intact.
The fucking mustache, man.
Because it was like out to here. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture.
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
Okay, so just his mustache, not the rest of his, head of hair or anything, just the mustache.
His hair wasn't intact. His mutton chops and his mustache were intact.
Interesting.
The body was positively identified to being that of Holmes and his teeth. Holmes was then reburied.
Because, DNA.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to hear about the most shocking out of all of this, aside from this?
Yeah.
There is a book called The Devil in the White City that is being made into a movie. Written and directed by Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Interesting.
It's supposed to be coming out to theaters in the next couple of years. I want to see it.
You want to hear a little paranormal about this?
Oh, yes! Absolutely.
So the first floor remained standing of the castle.
Yes.
And was converted to a sign shop and a bookstore.
Okay.
And it wasn't until 1938 that the site was truly given a new life, wherein a U.S. post office was constructed upon the abandoned locale.
Them some haunted letters. Oh.
One postal employee shared her haunting experience when she entered a hallway while investigating a strange noise, only to find a hallway lined with folding chairs. She retreated to the lobby and then, upon returning to the hallway, found the line of chairs had mysteriously stacked itself.
What?
Fuck that.
No,
There have been several other reports from post office employees of seeing a ghostly figure of a woman in the building or outside in the courtyard where the murder castle once stood. Visitors report hearing the haunting sound of a woman humming or singing in unoccupied areas of the building.
That's probably Julia, because she did work in the hotel for a very long period of time before she went missing. Yeah.
That's quite possible.
Because she was, even though Holmes had an affair with her, she was one of the cleaning ladies. So.
Yeah. So, the post office only takes up a small part of where the castle was, and the rest of it's just a vacant lot.
Ooh. So, oh no.
I don't like that at all.
I
thought you said fun fact.
No, I said paranormal fact.
Oh.
I was like, oh, this is interesting.
I thought it was a fun fact, too.
I mean, fun, not so fun fact.
So,
I had to share with the class.
So, I mean, in that town, probably nobody would want to go to the post office. I mean, nobody wants to go to the post office now, but really at that time, nobody wants to go to that post office.
Well, and so it's one of the massive ones, which is one of the ones that does the postal sorting and has the P.O. boxes and everything.
No, ma'am.
Yes. It's one of the bigger post offices.
So, like, you have to go.
Yeah. So, like, workers, like, that are, the mail sorters, they don't have a choice in the matter. It's one of the bigger post. I think it's 2 or 3 stories.
Jesus.
It's massive.
That is not necessarily a post office I would be caught dead in. Ah! Emily.
Thanks for sharing that.
I give it a 2. You could do so much better.
I know, but like, I'm mic'd up right now.
Yeah, turn your mute on.
Oh.
Mm.
Oh.
So I found
Are you looking at the post office?
You guys want to go to a haunted post office?
I mean, no, we can go there.
But yeah, no, like, this is a large post office.
I'm looking. Hold on.
It's called The Englewood Post Office.
That's huge.
That's why I was like, it's got to be, you know, the sorting post office.
It's not a post office. That's a correctional facility.
That's what I was thinking.
That's, guys, if you're listening, there's a lot of crinkling in the background. I apologize. I found all of my nephew's photos when I was cleaning my office.
Because her nephews were lost.
Yes. He's so cute. He gets his good looks from his mom, thank God. I really hope that he gets his brains from his mom, too.
Another reason why we won't be doing video. We don't want to show babies.
Yeah, I don't show photos of my kids. Any of my kids.
We protect the young.
We do protect the young.
Protect the young, eat the rich.
If you are from Chicago, or you are in Chicago, or in the Chicago area, and you are able to actually go to this post office and you want to tell us about your experiences, please do. You can actually write to us at TPM or tpw3mpodcast@gmail.com. I want to hear everything about that post office.
We want to hear about all the spooky shit.
I do.
I want to read the reviews and see if there's any reviews there.
Hold on.
I was about to say, Google
Hold
it.
on.
It's called the Englewood Post Office.
Englewood Post Office.
ENGLEWOOD.
Got it. Englewood Post Office. Reviews. There's reviews. Okay. All right.
Of course there's reviews. There's always reviews.
Visited this. Oh, it's from an actual travel writer. Our Haunted Travels. Visited this location on Saturday morning during a tour and wanted to mail home a postcard due to the history of the location. The post office was closed. Later, we had a friend who lives in Chicago go to the location and send us the postcard. It's cool to think that our trip was on the tour of the great-great-grandson of H.H. Holmes, Mr. Jeff Mudgett from history's American Ripper. Did not experience anything with the staff at this location since we were not able to go inside when we were there, so we cannot comment on the service. But they have loads of photos. It's massive. Let's see here. More reviews.
You're welcome for finding that.
Worst customer service. All of these are worst customer service. I mean, if the place is haunted and you're going to have to deal with ghosts on a day-to-day basis, I'm pretty sure
this one phone rings several times, no one answers, then you hear a fax tone.
Fax tone, yeah.
I mean, probably the ghost fucking with the wires. Because, I mean, we already know that Frank's likes messing with the stuff when we're recording.
Oh my
I
God.
handed my package to a woman behind the counter and it slipped right through her pale, translucent fingers. Would give this place 5 stars, but some guy with horns on his head tried to grab me and pull me into the walls.
What? Where's that? I'm still going through it. Hold on.
Oh my God. That had to be somebody just trolling. I love it though.
Still reading.
Packages go missing mysteriously, staff are unreasonably rude, and there seems to be a darkness covering this location, and I think we know why if you don't Google H.H. Holmes Murder Castle.
Yep. I saw that.
Oh boy.
Damn. If I could give this place a negative star, I would. The clerk was so rude. She threatened me. I had to leave for a minute and come back. Damn. All of these are saying, okay, so when you live in a place that's like super, super haunted, I myself am a haunted house, you have to be accustomed to the energy and try to clean it as much as you can. But with places where people have been murdered, okay,
it's different.
So, like for instance, Gettysburg, they have a lot of people who come in and out. There's only like 2 or 3 people that have stayed, which is why I want to go back. The guy that I've seen the last 3 times that I've gone back to Gettysburg, he's still there, but he takes a lot of time off. Like he works on a week and then he's off a week or 2, and then he's on a week. Like he doesn't stay.
Because it's draining.
Right.
Makes me think, like, this is a really low score for a post office, so it kind of makes me think that
that
There's
place,
some real shit going on there.
it needs to be
yeah.
cleansed. Like, not just like a normal cleanse. Like, this thing has to take me and like 7 other brujas to like clean the whole place. Like, one for each of the corners. One
of the
It's
things
in the ground. Like,
yeah, and one of the things is saying, like, even though my boxes are clearly labeled, like, they're still going to the wrong places. You know, the staff is unreasonably rude. I read one comment where it was like, my sister started working here years ago, and she used to be the nicest thing ever, and, you know, now she's just so rude.
because it affects you.
And I get, like, customer service ages you. Dude.
No.
At least didn't show his booty hole this time.
Nobody walked across my freaking keyboard. But, like, I get that customer service changes you, but it doesn't change you from being super nice to cussing out customers over the span of, like, a couple months.
Oh.
Like, you would assume that would take years.
Right.
It took me about 2 years.
Yeah. No, apparently she worked there for like 2 or 3 months, and she was just...
Yeah, that big of a change. I'm like, is there something going on medically? Like, let's get a neuro scan kind of thing.
Right.
Well, him is a doctor, so...
Oh.
Tying back to this. Also, I do have one question, because the month of May is my birthday month.
Mine too.
Are we doing special videos on our birthday days, or?
I mean, so this would have been my birthday episode.
Happy birthday!
Yay!
Yeah.
Your episode would be the same day because mine's the day after. Or yours is the day. Yours is the day after mine. I'm on the 8th. You're on the 9th.
Girl, I'm the 11th.
Well, still okay. So my cousin's on the 9th. My other cousin's on the 10th. You're on the 11th. My brother's on the 13th.
I'm just a couple months ahead of you.
Well, that was the grandiose tale of H.H. Holmes and his murder castle.
And his fancy mustache.
And his fancy fucking mustache. The fact that it survived.
Okay.
It was a very impressive mustache.
I think we found the title of the podcast.
The grandiose mustache and how it survived.
Yeah! Haunted post offices.
Haunted post offices, man. Stay spooky, guys. Don't take jobs from random strangers. If you don't know them, don't.
Then how are we supposed to get jobs?
No, I'm saying, like, if you get a Craigslist ad, work at my hotel, you know, that's how you get murdered, guys. All right.
I mean, I do work at a haunted hotel, so I mean, but that's a story for another time.
Look. She does. She works at a haunted hotel. I can verify.
We've had a couple people die there.
Yeah.
So that's a tale for another time.
Next time on the Pandemonium Witches.
X-rays showed that the child had an enlarged stomach consistent with air being deliberately forced into it.
Once is suspicious. Once is suspicious. Twice is this is red flags.
So Lucy later searched for this mother on Facebook and sent her a card on the day of the funeral and kept photos of the card on her phone.
She is not the person to be doing safety and monitoring.